What's up, you beautiful collectors? This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the folks at Hasbro, we're going to be taking an early look at their new Transformers The Last Knight Premier Edition Voyager Class Optimus Prime. For the package, really cool new box design. With obviously the Transformers text, you got the Transformers Last Knight logo down there. On the front here, it kind of has a wraparound image of Optimus from The Last Knight, as well as an open window that fully showcases the figure, as well as all of his accessories. On the side of the box, you have another really very heroic and cool look for Optimus, and it says Earth's Greatest Protector, which from some of the trailers that we've seen may not necessarily be true. On the back of the box, you have images of both his robot as well as his vehicle mode that he transforms in 30 steps, and also the other figure in this first wave of Voyager figures, that being a repaint of the Transformers Age of Extinction Voyager class Grimlock. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the new Transformers The Last Knight Premier Edition Voyager Class Optimus Prime opened up and out of his packaging. And obviously, as you can tell, Optimus is still in his heavily modified Western Star semi-truck that carried over from the Age of Extinction, and this actually looks really good. The paint detail on here is nice. Kind of has that reflective quality to it, especially here with the flames. You can really see that. You can see some nice silver paint here along the side where like the gas tanks would be. You do have some of that kind of drab gray plastic kind of going on. It's not too terribly bad. Obviously, I do wish it had a silver paint to it, but it does look pretty decent. And then you also have that gray plastic that carries over here on the back. Again, it would have been nice if you had that silver paint with some, kind of red detail for the taillights there. But you take a look at the blue, and you can kind of see it's got a little bit of a swirly sort of look into it, which gives it a kind of neat look. You got those flames coming around here in the side. I love how you got the blue flames that kind of come around, and then it goes to the red, and then as the red goes along, that kind of turns into a flame. That's really neat. You got the nice Autobot logos there, and obviously there, and then you got some nice silver kind of in the bumper and the headlights. You can see he's got like an Autobot logo molded in there. It's not paint. Well, I mean, it's painted silver, but there's no red or anything in there, so it kind of just blends in. But when you look really close, you can actually see that. You also have some really nice molded detail here along the side with like the doors and then the compartments here in the back. That kind of along the side right there, there is a little bit of a molded bit in there. I can't really make out what that says. I think that's the type of like semi-truck he's mostly based off of. You can also see that in the hubcaps he does have a little Autobot logo right there, which is nice. Does that go on with the other one? Yeah, that's the case with all the hubcaps, which is kind of cool. You got the little Western Star logo molded in there. So I mean, overall, and I even like how they got the exhaust pipes with the molding in there. So in general, fairly nice molded detail on this guy. Good paint detail. I wouldn't mind if there was some silver in the hubcaps, but all in all, really pretty nice looking. You can see that he does have his weapon storage. You got his shield right here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Just pull that away from there. But when you remove it, you kind of start seeing some kind of like robot parts. But all in all, I think they do a really good job of kind of hiding a lot of that robot stuff. That's kind of impressive. Taking a look at the shield, you can see that it's got a gray plastic, and then you got some nice kind of light blue painted around the outside and then the center. It's a little bit smaller than I think I would like. I would really love a real big shield. I mean, he used this in the movie, and it was a little bit bigger if I remember right. And then he also does come with this sword. You can see that pegs down here along the bottom side for weapon storage. You just kind of slide that out. But again, you got just this gray plastic with some really nice molded detail, and then the blade of it is all painted in this orange color. It's nice to see that they actually have paint put on those two different weapons. Setting those off to the side. For the scale, he is a Voyager, and using the slightly more movie accurate looking evasion mode Optimus. As you remember, this is what predated this, and you can see Voyager size figures, and they are, if I kind of stretch my brain a little bit, this is about the right scale. Now, these flat-nosed semi-trucks are actually fairly small, and when you line that up, it seems about right. It might not necessarily be as tall. I mean, I think that this would probably be a little bit taller. I mean, obviously, as you can see, it is, but I think that the overall bulk would be a little bit bigger on this guy, but that's not too bad. I dig that. Now, bringing in a couple more figures. Obviously, this is the Age of Extinction figure, so these are the new Last Night ones. And again, deluxe class Barricade, I think, might be a little bit bigger. In terms of a scale, this seems a little bit more appropriate. Barricade, when you look at it like this, Barricade actually is the one that looks a little bit big. You know, I mean, I was kind of complaining about this, dropping it. I was complaining about this being a little bit too small, but I honestly think that it works pretty good here. And then again, because I've just been using this on all these Last Night reviews, here's the deluxe class blur from RID. So you get an idea of kind of the size, obviously. Voyager figure, and this is a deluxe, so it will be a little bit smaller, but that basically gives you kind of an idea. But in general, I am actually pretty happy with how this turned out. One thing that I'll say is that it really does have kind of a similar sort of transformation and design to the leader class version that we got with Age of Extinction, but this is definitely improved. Now, to transform them, first I'm going to come around here to the top, just detach this, kind of lift this up, and just flop that off to the back like that. You can come around here to the side, and these are going to detach and pull away from the body like so, and you can then, if you really wanted to, you can kind of wedge them back here right now. You don't have to do that right now, but you can do it. It does get a little bit of a hairy kind of mess right there as it's trying to clear this back section. Come around here to the legs. We're going to split these. Come around here to the front, split that, and you can then pull this piece away from the rest of the actual car section, just like that. And then just swivel this out to the side on both sides, and then you can take the legs and you can rotate those down, again, just kind of creating some clearance. Take this entire top section, you want to then rotate this around, come around here to the legs. This section here will rotate, well, you can spin these around, bring the front of his legs to the front of the figure, but rotate this, let's see, you had this right here, rotate this to the inside, and it does actually kind of just sit right there. So do that on both sides, just like so. And come around here to the bottom section, rotate this down like that, bring this, detach this, rotate that around, and then swivel that around. And then this has a little tab that's going to slot right in the front section here. So bring that around, lock that up and into place. So do that again here, bring this piece down, rotate the foot around, bring this up, lock that into place just like so. Take the little bottom section here, which would be the grill, rotate that all the way around. Do that on this part as well. Where's that? Rotate that all the way around. And then this swivels, get that kind of over here. This swivels around and then actually tabs in along the side right there. So again, do that on this side, rotate this up. There we go, rotate. Well, there's a lot of rotating in this, and I had it right the first time, so bring that up and around, doodle-doodle-doo. There, come on, there we go. And then bring this in, tab that along the side, bring that down just like that, and there you have his legs done. And then setting him down and angling up a little. You can then take this backpack and you can just flip this around to the back like so. Take these, rotate these around, and then reach in here. It's a little bit tricky, and grab his head, rotate that up like that. You can take this section, fold that down, bring this up. You got two little round pegs here that are going to peg in to these little hole slots right there. So just bring that up, give that a nice little push, get the head out of the way, push that there, bring these back. These will, well, first I guess it makes it a little bit easier if you take this, detach these, and rotate these out to the side, and then bring that back, and that will kind of soft tab into place. Do that on this side as well. Lift that up, rotate that around, soft tab that into place. Come around here to the underside of his forearms. These little pieces that are like that, they are on a double hinge, so hinge that back, and then they tab down in the back section right there. So again, do that on this side here. Hinge it up like that, tab that in just like so, and then to complete the look, these little pieces here you rotate up, kind of pull right here, because there's actually, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it, you got a little slot kind of right there that has a tab on the underside, so you want to bring this away, rotate that up, and kind of get that little tab in there. So you do that there, and then this one pulls away. It rotates that up, locks that kind of down. This back section here, you want to keep a little bit of a gap right here, and then you've got two little tabs here and here that correspond to little slots on the back of this little gray piece. So you just bring this whole section down, but you got this little spine that has to kind of fit through here. So rotate that down, and then you can put that into place right there, and then give that a little shove like so, and make sure that that's pushed forward like that. Straighten everything out. And when you're done, there you have Optimus Prime. It is pretty cool looking robot mode. And again, I really do think that Hasbro has done a really nice job with these Last Knight figures. One of the most challenging aspects, I would imagine, is taking the movie design and making them into a toy. Because as we know, starting with kind of a lot of the redesigns from Age of Extinction, a lot of the robots don't have a lot of visible vehicle parts on them. They really do kind of just disappear for the most part. And Hasbro really can't do that. I mean, the parts have to go somewhere, and I think for the most part they do a pretty good job, especially here with Optimus. They take a lot of those same kind of design elements that we got with the Leader one, shrink it down, and improve a lot of it as well. Now, obviously, he does have some stuff hanging off here, like the back, but I think it compresses fairly decently, as good as can be expected. And then the legs here do get a fair amount of bulk to them as well. So, I mean, from the back, it really doesn't look that great. Kind of from the side, he looks like a chunky monkey. From the front, though, that guy looks pretty good. Now, obviously, he doesn't have these smokestacks hanging out in the actual movie design. Again, that's something that basically disappears in the movies. I wish there was a way that you could maybe rotate these or collapse these down or something with that. That would have looked pretty cool, but coloring looks pretty decent. You can see that the face looks really good. You got some blue molded bits around the side, obviously. You got some silver going down there. He's just got blue painted eyes. I kind of wish he had light piping, but the blue paint for the eyes just looks kind of blobbed on there. I wish that was a little bit more streamlined, but you got some nice blue here in the chest. These little pieces really look good. You got some nice silver put in there, and then it matches very nicely actually with the kind of darker gray plastic around throughout the majority of the body. There could be some extra details on there, like here with the legs and such, but it's not bad. You got some nice silver here on the upper part of the arm, good blue detail. You got the little crotch piece here with some nice color. Legs have some nice blue and silver put on there. You do have that kind of very light gray, almost white plastic for the feet and then the middle section, but all in all, I mean, I do like the way that the guy looks. Now, one thing that's actually also really cool is you could see it. If I lift this up and move this out to the side, you could see it in vehicle mode. You have this little section right here, but one thing that's neat is they molded that in there, and you actually can store his sword in that. It's a little sheath on the back, which does great. As you can see, you have the little pegs on the holes on the forearm that you can peg his shield into. There's no real other place that I can see that you can put that besides there. So you're going to kind of have to store that always on that section, but you can just throw it off to the side, or maybe, I don't know, you can detach that and shove it down there, I guess. Is that, wait, well, no, that's not all. I thought there was a little hole there. You could just do that and jam it down there. I don't know. We be jamming here. Yeah, we be jamming Optimus Prime with the silver. It's disco. Doodle-doodle-doo. Look at me. I'm Optimus Prime. I'm doing dancing. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm just having fun with this. For the articulation, there is a pretty good amount on him. The head is on a ball joint, so you can kind of get it pivoting side to side a little. He looks up and down. Kind of wish it looked up a little bit more for his flying jet feet thing. You got that. These little pieces obviously can hinge and rotate. They do have a kind of, I guess that's a universal joint there at the shoulder, so you can rotate that nicely. It hinges in and out. It does rotate at the upper part. Because of the transformation, he does kind of have a butterfly joint right there, so you can kind of position that inward. It doesn't really break it up too much. I mean, it obviously kind of does, but I don't think it's too terribly ugly. He does have a hinge here at the elbow. One thing I would say is that in terms of the swivels here, this one on this side is a little bit loose. It's not terribly bad, but not nearly as tight as this one, but it does feel a little bit looser. One of the biggest downfalls is he doesn't have wrist rotation, which it looks like they could have molded it in there. I mean, there's enough plastic and everything. I think they could have. That does get a little bit kind of limiting when you want to put his sword in there, because you're going to rotate it. I mean, obviously you can use that butterfly joint, but it would be nice to be able to rotate there at the wrist for some cool dynamic poses. As I said, he can rotate here at the waist. He does kind of get a little bit of kibbly here with the hip area, bumping into things in the back, but it's not terribly bad. You can kind of work around it. This piece does move forward. You can move the hips in and out. They rotate forward and back. He rotates at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee, but he does get some robot junk, or vehicle junk, I should say, back there. So he only gets about I'd say 45-degree bend for the knee. And then ankles, does it do anything? No, because it kind of tabs in there, so it just kind of sits there. But at least they are kind of spread out a little bit. You can see it's on an angle, so you can just kind of sit them right there, and it looks pretty cool. So the articulation is a little limited, but it is basically what you would need. The only real downfall would probably be the wrists. Now, for some size comparisons, because this is the Voyager, and this is how he looked, towards the tail end of Age of Extinction and now into The Last Knight. Here is next to how he looked in the beginning of the Age of Extinction, the evasion mode version. Obviously, this is the Takara one. But size-wise, I mean, pretty good size. It scales very decently and is just about right. But this was definitely a much more, I guess, in-line look for the robots in terms of having a lot of kind of exposed vehicle parts and such, like tires and windows and everything. I mean, you looked at this, and even in the movie, you could see that he transformed into something. This guy, like, everything vanishes, basically. That's a design element that I don't particularly like, but that has nothing to do with Hasbro. That's entirely the movie design. I mean, I know a lot of people that complained about how these looked too alien and they wanted them to look more humanoid. I heard that so many times with the original movies. And then when they designed it and gave it more of a humanoid sort of look, they started looking weird. Like Lockdown, for example, looks weird to me. He doesn't look like he really transforms into a car. For another comparison to that more, I guess, common mold, this is the Takara version of the movie The Best Bumblebee. But again, it utilizes the mold from Dark of the Moon, so you can basically see how the scale works. And this scale, I mean, the scale in here is pretty decent. They're getting a lot of kind of leader sort of elements in their new Voyager figures. And it's almost like Voyagers kind of are becoming the new standard. I mean, even when you look at the other deluxes from The Last Knight, and obviously, taking Bumblebee out of the equation here, you can really see that the scale, it works pretty decently. Before, you would have to almost use like the leader figure for the biggest ones. Now, Voyagers are kind of fitting for that. Now, to transform them back, first you want to take these little chest pieces, kind of, again, pull away from the outside and then rotate them down, just like so. You can kind of wedge your finger in there. It's a little bit tricky to get to that, but kind of pull this whole section away. And again, I don't have the fingernail capabilities that most people do, so there we go. Pull that out just like that, and that hinges out. You can come down here to these little forearm bits, detach those from the back section, and hinge them up like that. Do that on the other side as well. Pull that out and then hinge that forward. You can rotate these arms around, and they're going to position here, but as you rotate it around, you need to bring this around, and you got a little tab right here with the little slot on the underside of the little shoulder bit. So just kind of look where that is, angle that, lock that into place, and then rotate this around so that the top section of the truck is going to be facing forward here. So again, do that here, rotate that, kind of line all this up, see where that little tab is underneath here, slot that down just like so, and then you can kind of just position these together. You can tab it together right now. Odds are it'll probably detach because the tab's not too terribly long and it relies more on the outer tabs to kind of lock everything. And one thing I did forget, make sure you rotate Optimus's head and tuck that away. What am I doing? There we go. And then you just bring that back. Just pretend like I already rotated the head. You know, there we go. Yeah. Oh, see. And the head actually kind of spreads out a little bit because it's kind of clunky down there. Come down here to the legs. You want to detach attach the side bits here along the side. Just kind of get those out of the way. Do that here as well. Get that out of the way. Rotate the legs inward so that the feet kind of position towards the inner part. Detach the foot. You can then hinge that out like that. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Do that on this side as well. Bring that up. You can bring this piece up, and then you rotate this entire section all the way around. Kind of get that down. Rotate that all the way around, just like so. Rotate them back. Kind of get this out of the way. Bring that up. Swivel this all the way back and around. Keep that out. Kind of just fiddling with that whole thing. And then these are going to swivel out to the side. Come around here to the intersection. You can take these little sections here, rotate these all the way around. And they do just attach via ball joints. Mine pop off a little bit easily. So put that in there, rotate that around. And then you can bring this back section together and tab all this, pushing that in. Just like so. Kind of, you can see things get a little bit crooked here, so you do kind of have to straighten things out a little and just make sure everything is kind of flush with where it needs to be. So bring that around, come around here to the feet. You're going to spin these bits around like so, and then hinge these back like so here. And then you got a little tab that locks them down there. Bring this up, do that on this side as well. So rotate this around, bring this down, locking that into place, and then you bring them down and around under here, and then this whole section here kind of rotated. Then you bring this underneath this section, and these little bits here along the side kind of lock in and tab along the section of his thighs here. So just kind of squeeze all that together, holding that in place. You can bring these in. That will collapse down like so. Oh, I'm sorry. Take these little bits, rotate these around, put that there. Do that on this side as well. Rotate that around, just like that. And then this can be a little bit tricky to you kind of have to hold everything together as you bring this up and around here. So you just hold that and then squeeze it all just like so. Again, the whole squeezing thing. Just kind of position that, make sure that's there, kind of angle these out. These are on double hinges, so you want to make sure that you straighten that out completely. Fold this in, and these will tab along the inside here and up towards the front. Again, get that out of the way. Rotate that up. Get that double hinge fully straightened out. Then you rotate that in there. Give that a nice little push. Locks that into place. This swivels around, comes down, tabs down along the top, and there you have Optimus back in his truck mode. But I am actually fairly happy with how this figure turned out. As I said, I feel what they did was took the leader figure, scaled it down, but also improved upon it. So what you have is a fairly accurate looking truck mode with obviously some transformation that carries over from that leader, and then a robot mode that looks as good as it's going to get. The movie designs really do, in my opinion, limit what the toy makers are able to do, because as I talked about, so many different of the designs in the movie, you can't even tell that they're vehicles or anything like that. A lot of the stuff just disappears. You can't do that with the toys here. So I think Hasbro did a pretty good job and improved on what they already had that was going fairly well with the leader. Now, does that mean that this is a perfect figure? Absolutely not. In some of the paint detail and stuff, I do wish it had some extras thrown in there, like the hubcaps, the sections here. I do kind of wish in robot mode these could fold or rotate or kind of hide a little bit better. But for the most part, I'm really impressed with this. And so far, of the 3 new molds in the Premiere Edition, it really does give me hope with some of the other figures that are coming out. Yes, this first wave does have a couple repaints, and I'll take a look at those shortly, but the new figures really turned out pretty good. So Optimus here, as well as the rest of the Last Night figures, will be hitting various retail locations fairly soon. So if you're looking for them, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can keep your eyes on Big Bad Toy Store for availability. So for that, all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You go to BBTS, where as I said, you can check out availability on this, as well as the rest of their wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if you're already subscribed, do me a real quick favor and click on that bell right below this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.